Hi, we're here to talk about.
If you want to know about space, you have to know about the planets. If you want to know about the planets, you have to listen to me right now. Sun, Mercury,
Starfield.
Starfield. If you want to know about Starfield, you have to listen to us right now.
What are your thoughts on Starfield?
So I went into Starfield not with no expectations because it's fucking Bethesda, so there's a level of expectation there that it will be a big, good game. But I didn't know anything about it. Okay, you're right. Yeah,
There's a level of expectation that it'll be a Bethesda game.
it'll be a Bethesda game.
I was kind of hoping for something more, so I let my hopes get away from me, but go ahead.
I went into it knowing it was a space game, and having seen like the original trailer for it. And that's kind of it. I didn't care to look at it more because I knew I was going to play it regardless, and I figured no expectations are better than some. And boy, do I regret spending $100 in this game. I mean,
Yes.
only because I could have played it for free now. It's live.
Free?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, so included.
Fuck.
So, yeah, I wasn't going to buy it, and then you were like, well, let's talk about it. I was like, this is a great excuse. I'm going to buy this game that I really want to play. I'm very excited to play it. I don't hate it. I think it's definitely a flawed game, though. And those opening hours, bro, I was like bored to tears. And there are times where I still feel that way. What about you?
I think I hated it.
Yeah.
Genuinely hated that game for the first 15 hours.
Jeez, it's a long time.
And I do not typically play games that I hate as much as I hated the beginning of Starfield in order to hopefully get to a point where I don't hate it.
What drove you? Was it just the fact that you spent $100 on it?
Yeah, which I might cut around the fact that I spent $100 on it. Particularly with the knowledge that it is free tomorrow.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll leave it in there. Anyway, man, the beginning of that game is so bad.
It's so bad in so many ways. Well, I'll start off with the good. I can't even say I'm impressed with this, but I thought that opening scene when I first saw the facial models and some of the suit models and stuff, I was like, this looks really good. And then I realized, like, oh no, this is completely washed out. But go on.
See, I think the facial models are terrible in this game.
We'll get to that. We'll talk about it later.
So the big thing I was looking forward to was the ships. I was really looking forward to having a ship. Like you, I didn't really know anything about this game. I just assumed that this would be a game in which you get to fly around on a ship in space and explore things. That is not what this game is. This is a game where the ship serves as a complicated series of loading screens.
Yeah.
With a space dogfighting mini game that you can sometimes engage in.
Yeah.
Other than that, the ship is entirely superfluous to the traveling experience.
Yeah, have you done the shipbuilding at all?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's a pretty... Although I feel like all the ships you're going to make look fucking the same because there's not like a very unique designs to a lot of the different parts.
Yeah, and there's some cool shit you can do. And I was really getting into that. And I think the shipbuilding is actually interesting. But then you build this cool ship and functionally you don't really get much out of it.
No.
You can get more power to put more guns on it.
Yeah.
So the space dogfighting minigame that you sometimes play is easier.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I loaded up with cargo space is the important thing, but
Yeah.
largely, I think you can make it like your outpost or your base, but what that means is like kind of lost on me. In Fallout 4, there was base building. You could build a whole fucking base, but the game never gave you a real reason to do it.
Right.
And there was things you could do with the base, but it was never like a requirement or even, I don't know. To me, it felt
Yeah, I mean,
like a detached part of the game. Same with fucking Skyrim when they came out with that Hearthstone update, whatever it's called.
it's the thing that Bethesda is chronically um, guilty of. They build games that are a mile wide and an inch deep, and
I don't know if this one's an inch deep yet because I still don't feel like I know everything about it. But can
well,
we all right, go on.
there it feels an inch deep to me, particularly because I had a incredibly frustrating experience that really derailed a process that I was on where I was starting to actually enjoy the game. So this is going to be some mild spoilers, but I
Okay.
will try to. I'll try to be as vague as possible.
Sure.
But there's a planet that you can go to that has this really cool city, and I went to this city and I was like, "This is cool. It's very cyberpunk esque. It's cool to walk around." I started doing a bunch of quests there, and I got to the point where I was essentially a leader of a criminal gang. I was a high level corpo for one of the companies on this world, and I had contacts in the security forces. Like I had built up a relationship and installed contacts in the security force. And I was like, this is fucking cool. I feel like I'm really doing some cool shit here.
Right.
And then a main story quest brought me back to this world. And none of that mattered at all for the main story quest. I couldn't utilize any of those things.
Like no one gave a fuck.
I couldn't utilize any of it to help with the quest or to like deal with the security or none of it mattered. It was not even a dialogue option. And that was when it hit me that all of these things, all of these quests and stories are not really that compelling and interesting on their own. There's just 1,000 of them, and they're all siloed, and they don't interact with each other.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just telling you that you're the leader now doesn't fucking mean shit if it doesn't affect the game. Like, especially coming from a game like Baldur's Gate.
Exactly. And that was
where all of that shit is so interwoven. That might be the best RPG ever made. But yeah, coming directly to this and engaging with I don't know.
Yeah, to draw another distinction between Baldur's Gate and to draw multiple distinctions. The facial animations are wildly different. Baldur's Gate, the facial animations are so good. For a game that's in third person.
Yeah, for a game, you mean like a far away camera.
Right. Every time it gets close in, the facial expressions are hilarious and awesome and interesting and like.
I really hate my character's facial expressions.
Well, but
because I'm a dark evil wizard, and I go ooh, ah, all the time. Like, stop.
But at least in Baldur's Gate, the facial expression that you're making, that your character is making, looks like a facial expression a person might make, even if you disagree with it and you think it's not what that person should.
No,
make.
totally. I think they're good. They're well done. They're fun. They're expressive.
Yes, they're not incredibly wooden and weird looking like all the facial expressions in Starfield.
Well, it's like, why are the cutscenes this way? Where it's like the same thing they've been since, I don't know, at least Morrowind, where it's just this head-on, like, I'm talking to you, and yes, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, it's so awkward, and then it's really immersion breaking, particularly if you engage the conversation at like a weird angle, because then the character will be doing this or something.
Dude, the looking back at you like this is so off-putting. I had a guy today. I'm gonna just show you the screenshot. I had a guy today that I approached, and his neck was completely turned around the other way.
Early on I started this dialogue, and then my companion got glitched and was just shaking all over the screen. And every time it cut to her, she was just teleporting and shaking.
Yeah, it's a Bethesda game in that, right? I mean,
it just feels so lazy. It feels so lazy that they're still doing that you could show somebody who played Morrowind and they would immediately recognize the company. Like there's hardly any evolution of technical finesse in this area.
Yeah, I think the facial animation and expressions are not very good, but I will stand by that I think the facial models are a lot better than they have been, but the reason that they and so much of the game looks like shit is because their lighting is the worst lighting
Oh, it's terrible.
ever. Everything looks completely flat
Mm-hmm.
because there is just no level of like proper illumination. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are like occasions where you'll see a character that has proper shadow cast on his face, and you can see like instead of just seeing like a flat texture, you see like the forehead wrinkles and like the eye bags, and
Yeah.
like you're like, oh, I see the detail in his face, and those details bringing it out and make it look real and a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. The game is so washed out. It looks
It's absurd.
horrendous.
Yeah, it's like the lighting, and then it's there's no, I think HDR is broken, but also just like SDR. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's all completely like space is gray. Space is not black in that game. There is no black in that game.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. And there's no gamma slider, there's no contrast slider, and there's no way to adjust HDR either.
Mm-hmm.
Very bizarre, but that's a whole other thing. Sorry.
So no. So yeah, the ships. I guess it feels like you maybe had a higher estimation of the ships than I did.
No, I think that like I think the shipbuilder is pretty cool in its own right. I haven't engaged with it enough to like really see its capabilities, but yeah, I'm with you. Like the ship stuff in general is kind of boring, and
Mm-hmm.
the game also just doesn't tell you some things. I saw some stuff on social media today where they were like, "Hey, if you use your ship booster, it breaks enemy target lock." Like, oh, thanks for fucking telling me on
Cool.
Twitter and not in the fucking game
Mm-hmm.
where the missiles have been killing me the most.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know. In general, like I think spaceship rewards for stuff feel really cool because you're like, oh, I got a fucking spaceship out of this. But,
Yeah.
I did go into it knowing that this would not be. You would not have atmospheric flight. You would not have. It would be load screens to get in and out of planet, and jumping and. It's hard. It's a hard problem because, I've played Star Citizen. I've played Elite. I really like flights like space sims where No Man's Sky, where you take off and you go into space,
Mm-hmm.
and the docking your ship and landing it, and even just the most minor levels of traversal, especially in Elite, not No Man's Sky, but like in Elite and Star Citizen, all that stuff is meaningful. Like you're running a risk every time you land your ship because you could fucking explode.
Mm-hmm.
And in those games, like if you die, you lose your ship and everything on it. So that's cool. In this game, you don't have that, and that's a choice. But the level of load screen and immersion breaking that comes along with it is just like, for me, it has been the worst part about the game.
Yeah. No. It's aside from the writing, that's the second worst part about the game to me.
Like I don't know that making this game a sim is the right choice because it's not a sim. It's an RPG. It's a Bethesda game where, oh, buddy, he's got to poop so bad. It's a Bethesda, like we're expecting something different from it, which I recognize, but I hit a load screen like every fucking 4 seconds, whether it's going into a building, getting on my ship, warping to a new place, landing on a planet, whatever it is. Like I get so pulled out of it. Like every time, even though it's only like a few seconds each time, I'm always like, let me look at my phone. And then I find myself like doing something on my phone for longer than the game's loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's my problem, but like, dude, it is.
Yeah, but it's kind of not like that. I found myself the whole time playing, just scratching my head, wondering why they wanted to build this game if they weren't going to do anything interesting, if they weren't going to try to make it feel like you actually are in space and have a ship and have that freedom.
Yeah.
If everything was just load screens, why make a space game?
Yeah.
other than you just wanted to, and it turned out harder than you thought it was going to be, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this game would benefit from um, fewer places that you spend more time on, so you encounter those load screens way
Hmm.
less. But like, dude, it's how many fucking times have you done a quest that it's just 5 minutes of load screens and talking to a guy and then going back?
Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, why am I running across the galaxy? It doesn't. You lose the scale a lot when you do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm traveling hundreds of light years
No, it
or
doesn't, because
dozens of light years.
I just fast travel everywhere now.
Yeah,
I don't even have to. I can go be on a planet and just fast travel to another planet.
yeah. I
I
started
don't
doing
even
that
have
too
to.
because you're skipping load screens
Right.
rather than sit through them.
Right. And there's so few things that are actually interesting to find while being in space. It's like, cool, you might find a pirate spaceship fight minigame.
Yeah, that part of it also got to me where those encounters are triggered the moment you load into space, and that's it.
Right.
It's like you load into space, and either a guy's going to hail you for some credits, or a pirate's going to attack you, or someone's going to ask you about your ship warranty, and that's it.
Yeah, which that was pretty funny.
It's pretty funny,
Um,
but like all these things are triggered, and
right.
it's so formulaic that
Yep.
it does not feel emergent.
Mm-mm.
It feels like you're triggering it because you loaded the game, because you are.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
To contrast that to Baldur's Gate again, I'm going to draw a lot of.
it's hard not to.
It's going to be. I'm. This is going to be a huge spoiler if I am explicit about what happened to Baldur's Gate. So I'm going to
don't
be.
spoil Baldur's Gate. I'm still not there.
There is a
Oh, wait, you're behind me, so
probably, but just for anybody watching, there is a zone that, and presumably this can happen in multiple areas, but we were shocked by this, that like we went to a zone to do something specific, and we were like, well, we don't want to do this yet, so we left, and then we came back, and everybody was dead. All the people in the zone had died.
was there lava in the zone?
Yes.
Cool.
Um,
That's really interesting.
and I was just like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing in this game. Nobody
Dude,
nobody said anything about a timetable.
There's so many fucking branching things in that game.
I know.
It is so absurd.
And
Like,
it's
to me,
all
like
so
the fact that you missed that
interconnected.
fight is like, how? Like, to me, that was like the biggest fight I had done for
We
all
were-
I Act 1.
We were creeping around. We were like, why is there nobody here? All these dead bodies. We're like, what's happening? And then we get to what's clearly a boss room, and he's dead. And we were like, what? We still have not figured out what happened.
Dude, I'm curious to know.
Yeah.
I can't really remember what the story beats. No, I don't know why he would have just died, or why
Right.
everyone would be dead. It's fascinating though.
It is really interesting, and that you'll never experience anything like that in Starfield.
I don't want to say you'll never, because I haven't even come close to beating the game. But as of right now, bro, it has been like, okay, Saturday or Sunday, I had all day to play Starfield. I had done all my chores on Saturday. Grace was busy. I had nothing to do besides play Starfield.
That is such a great feeling, and it's such a bummer that it was Starfield that you're playing all day. Anyway,
And
go ahead.
I was like, man, hours must have passed. It must almost be dinner time. It's 1 p.m. Like,
Holy shit!
and I seriously was like, I'm gonna take a break, and I just laid down in bed. I was like, I'm very bored.
Yeah,
I feel so bad saying that. I know that people are gonna like, and I don't want people not to enjoy the game that they like, but there's just like so much about this. Like, there's some, I'm compelled by some things. The things I find most compelling are like when you get into, and this even comes with caveats, but when you get into like a long dungeon or like a long segment where it's not broken up by load screens, you're just on a planet, you're going through like a long facility or whatever it is, and you're picking locks and you're finding your way around and you're trying to do things cool guy way.
mm-hmm.
I would say stealth, but stealth doesn't really even work in that game. Yeah, that's fun because I think number one, because I'm not getting distracted.
Yeah,
But then like those between moments are so hard, or the moments where you're like, I'm just gonna do some side quests, and all the side quests are like talk to these people, and
Yeah, talk to this guy needs you to go talk to this other guy, or this guy
screens.
needs you to pick something up, and it's just 5 load screens if you want to run around a city to do stuff.
Yeah, it's such a bummer. And the story is like not very good at all. Dude. You want to talk about fucking nonsense gameplay design? There's a point, and you can cut out the part we just talked about, but you can keep this in. There's a point in the game, it's that point where you're going around to collect these things. And you talk to the guy, and he's like, there's one of the things to collect here. And you're like, how many more of these fucking things are there? He's like, dude, it's got to be like 30 or 40. And you're like, oh, fuck, dude. Why don't you just tell me where they all are, and I'll go get them. He's like, no, you got to come back after each one. And so you literally I did this 8 or 9 times in a row. Teleport to the planet he wants you to go to. Then you can't land directly on a planet you haven't been to. So you teleport to it. Then you go into the planet, then land on it. Then you get out, and the things you're looking for are never near your ship. They're always 1,000 meters or whatever it is away.
Let me stop you right there, because this is something that has made me I almost rage quit playing. You land at a point on a planet where the quest marker is. When you land there, you don't actually land there. You land at the landing zone, which is really far away from that.
For no reason.
So then you have to go pull your Mac back open and then click the place you need to go, so you don't have to run 1,000 meters.
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that. For planets you haven't been to?
Yeah.
Oh, I just been walking that 1,000 meters.
Yeah. No. You can travel directly to that zone. It just doesn't do that for you.
Oh, well, some of the things I'm exploring specifically are unknown. So, like, you have to get there to reveal them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get to a planet, you walk 1,000 meters, and it's like you're walking by all this fauna that doesn't really care about you, and I'm not going to sit there and scan everything. It's too fucking boring.
God. Oh my God, it's so boring.
And then you get to the thing, and then you get into the place where you need to collect the item, and you have to do this, like, it's not even a mini game. You're in you got to float around and pick these things up.
It's so boring.
And you pick up like 6 or 7 of them every single time, and then you get out and you go all the way back to the guy, and he's like, wow, that was so cool, dude. I know about one more of those guys. Eventually he's like, here's 2. I'll tell you where 2 of them are. It's like, just tell me where all of them fucking are. Stop making me fucking do the back-to-back load screens are hard enough. Why do I have to come back and get off my ship and talk to you every time?
I know.
And he's not even in like a accessible zone where you can just hit land. You have to go there and then dock with his ship to like go talk to him. It's like an extra
God,
step.
and the docking. Ugh. Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. It's been pissing me off. Speaking of things that really piss you off in this game, how often have you been piloting your ship and you accidentally held E instead of pressing E, and then you have to, in the middle of like a fight?
Dude, I've gotten up, and as I'm getting up, I explode.
Yeah. Because you have to watch your character slowly stand up and then walk up to the camera, and then you get control.
And then you have to do it in reverse.
Then you have to do it in reverse to get back into the pilot seat. What the fuck are they thinking?
It is absolutely fucking infuriating.
Why are those the same key?
Like, Grace has watched me do that and me like freak out and lose my mind. I don't know. I don't know. And then like the story, it starts off so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the first 5-minute spoilers. You start off and you're a miner. You're in a mining group and you're underground and you're mining, and then you mine a special thing. And you're like, what is this fucking thing? And then you take it, and then the guy calls you, did you find the thing? And you're like, yeah, who are you? And he goes, I'm the guy who knows about the things. Then he lands on the planet, and then he goes, oh shit, the pirates are still following me. And so you kill the pirates. And then he goes, you better take my ship. I'm going to stay here in case more pirates come back.
Yeah, well, your mining boss is like, you can't leave. The pirates might come back. And he's like, that's a good point. We'll let this random person...
Let's let this random fucking stranger...
take my ship,
take
and
my ship.
I'll stay here to fight off the pirates as one guy.
And then you go back to this, esteemed organization, and they go, he gave you a ship? And you go, yeah. He goes, oh, well, you're part of the crew now, dude. You got the job. Most of these other people, I had to go to university and school and apply to be here, but we'll just give you the job. The fuck? And then then the game is collecting these weird things that you find, these artifacts that you find, and then you think it's going to be like a significant moment when you bring a bunch of these back, and it's just like not.
Mm-mm.
They're like, wow, that was cool. It spun around. Neat.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's
you're probably
crazy.
gonna find some more of those. Like, the whole game is like, just go grab a thing, leave, and come back.
Yeah, that's the whole. I mean, that's everything. That's every quest. Is just go here, do a thing, sit through loading screens, come back.
Yeah, and I mean, so the first moment I had in the game where I was like, oh, this is pretty fun, was I found there was an interesting story quest. I like read a note somewhere, and I was like, hey, go fucking check this thing out. And I got to it, and it was a really deep quest, like a really in-depth quest about. It has the word mantis in it. That's all I'm going to say. But ended up being like a long facility you went through. Had a couple puzzles that were way more puzzle than the whole rest of the game that I've played so far. By a couple, I mean one. And it was fun. It had cool rewards at the end. But that was like the last one of those things that I've done. And like the rest of the side missions that I've tried to do have just been boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was just a side mission, so I thought maybe the rest of them would be cool.
Yeah.
No.
They're really not. Especially when they amount to nothing.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still using the weapons I was using when I finished that thing like 10, 15 levels ago.
Mm-hmm.
So someone said that, or a lot of people have said that you should just plow through the main story and get to New Game Plus, because the game gets significantly better. And it's like, you would be remiss to experience all the side content without going to New Game Plus first.
What gets better about it?
I don't know. It's a big spoiler. So I don't know.
Hmm.
And it's like, I don't want to know, but this is what people are saying to do. And I started doing that until I got to a point where I'm level 22 and the planets I'm trying to go to are marked as 40. So I now have to do side content, and I'm bored to fucking death with it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck the game will do at New Game Plus, but apparently it's very important to do.
I mean, unless it is be a whole different game, I probably am not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm bummed by this game.
Me too.
The
writing is really bad.
I'm still compelled to play it.
Yeah.
Still want to.
I recorded the line from the beginning that you pointed out to me. I'm glad I turned it on, so I'll put it on this video. But the writing is so bad, and
So glad you got to
that fucking line.
Expect us to believe in fairy. If this is the greatest mystery in the universe, why couldn't it be part of the ultimate mystery?
What?
Gentlemen, can we?
Fuck are you talking about?
What?
And like all of the dialogue is like, particularly when you're trying to persuade somebody, you'll say you want their.
The juxtaposition of like getting a rejection and then a acceptance, a passing.
Yeah, like you want
so
an item they
ridiculous.
have, and they're like, I'm never giving you this item.
Yeah.
And you say, what? Why don't you just do it, man? And they're like, that's a good point. Here's the item.
You make a compelling argument. It's like, I'm never going to. My mom died getting this for me, and she gave it to me as her dying wish, and I will never part with it. But what if you just did? Yeah, okay. Sounds fine.
Dude, it's so
It's bad.
It's so bad.
And I don't like any of the companions. Not a single one. The things that Fallout had in spades was like character, and not just of companions. I thought, the fuck is the robot's name? Was it Mr. Handy? That's gonna sound really stupid. It's not Mr. Handy.
I don't know if it was. But we're gonna leave that in.
what's Mr. Handy?
I don't know.
Mr. Handy. It is. His name is Mr. Handy.
Okay, all right.
God. So not only are the characters really boring, but like, I don't know how much you liked Fallout, but I fucking loved it because like I'm exploring this wasteland with this retro futuristic aesthetic. I have Diamond City Radio blaring the whole time, and if I don't have an interesting companion with me, I always got good tunes to keep the vibes going.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't crazy about Fallout 4,
Yeah.
but at least the companions and characters were more interesting.
Yeah.
Every single, like to your point, every single person I've interacted with is a bland nothing burger.
Yeah. They're all like, we're good guys. Don't do bad stuff.
That's the thing that pissed me off. I kept trying to cycle through companions because at this point, I just want to like steal everything and kill people who get in my way because I just want to get through everything and I don't want to be a good guy. And they all hate that.
They all hate it.
They all will leave if you do anything bad.
Yep. My cat is really having a
So
time.
loud.
Yeah. It is such a fucking bummer. I'm trying to think of what do you think of the gunplay?
It's fine.
Better than Fallout.
Yeah.
I miss VATS. You don't need it in this game like you did in Fallout, but I do miss it.
Yeah.
You get like ship VATS at some point, but it doesn't really slow down time. It just kind of lets you target parts. And yeah, I was really hoping for more in those tech trees. You have to go through so many points to get shit.
It's so painful.
Yeah.
It's so painful. Yeah, like, and this is kind of like what I'm saying about this game is like every single aspect of it is like a good first try at that system, and you need to do a lot more with it.
Yeah.
And that's everything. Yeah. The ships, the guns, the dialogue, the exploration. I mean, everything.
Yeah, I can't help but think that I would have a much better time with this game, personally, if it was just one big planet.
Yeah.
I know that that's not the biggest deal for you, but like that immersion break to me is the thing that like kills my momentum every single time. It's like going into like 6 loading screens to get to a place. I'm like, I'm so fucking bored. And you get there and you have to just talk and then you leave again.
Yep.
It's like,
I would agree. I mean, from the beginning, I was very dubious about the 1,000 planets claim.
yeah,
Because I would prefer a solar system with 4 planets that are well made and interesting to explore,
Yeah.
rather than 1,000 planets that are all the same.
yeah. I don't even need necessarily 4 planets that like go in a circle and connect. Just give me 4 big areas or whatever, that are
Yeah.
well designed and unique. And I don't know, have you tried to land on a planet just in a random spot yet?
Mm-hmm.
And so what it does, at least what I'm thinking it does, is you load there, and we know from the complaints online that it gives you a certain area of that planet. It's not actually giving you the planet, which I don't fucking care. But it populates with sort of a random assortment of caves, abandoned outposts, and basically spreads those out within like 1,000 meters of you to give you something to explore. But then you go and explore those, and you're like, this is the most uninspired, boring fucking place I've ever been.
Yeah, it's just copy paste shit.
Yeah.
It'll be some of the same pirate thing you can find anywhere in the solar system.
Yeah.
I found a group of. I spent a while poking around a moon or a couple different moons, and I just found basically the same group of miners just sitting in a crater.
Yeah.
They're like, we're mining. It's crazy. We just all see somebody out here. It's just like, God damn, like why?
Why?
Why is this? How do you think this is compelling?
Yeah, I found one yesterday. I think I put it in the footage in the folder, but it was like this abandoned robotics facility. I was like, cool, this sounds dope. And I went there, and it's a bunch of fucking robots, and I fought through all of it, and I got to the end, and there's no end. It's just like you just cleared it out, and that was it. There was no big reward. It's like this took 20 minutes. What's the fucking point? Yeah, I would just, I don't know. I think there is a good game here. It's just like hard to get to at all. And
Do you think there is a good game?
yeah, like I think that's like some of the things I'm doing, I'm interested by, like particularly when I'm going through a long facility and getting cool rewards. But it's been a while since I fucking got any of those cool rewards.
Yeah.
And I think all of the space stuff has been so fucking boring lately. I think this is not the kind of game it is, and I understand that, but I think I ultimately would have liked the atmospheric flight of the space, difficult landing or more simmy stuff, but they definitely went halfway with some aspects. Like there's power assignment, but there's like no way to like quick, like, hey, configure for weapons, configure for shield, configure for
Right.
Like it's like the most awkward. You can't pause combat to do it. It's like so awkward.
Right.
to try to do that stuff on the fly. And yeah,
Yeah, and you have a crew that I would presume, multiple people working together could figure this shit out and like maybe
have you figured any of that stuff out? Like how to make them useful on the ship?
nope.
There's a way. There must be, because when you talk to some people, they're like, "Dude, I'm really
Oh,
good with
I don't think they
guns."
are. What that does is they just makes those them existing on the ship makes those stats better.
Great.
So like if you have somebody that's 3-star with shields, I think your shields are just better
That's so
or
cool, dude.
recharge quicker.
Love it.
And it's just like, yeah, this is you're obliterating any and all of the fantasy about like having a crew and flying around in space.
Yeah, my crew. I hate my crew.
Yeah, I don't. They're all
I don't want them on my
terrible.
ship.
Yeah,
I guess I could probably tell them to get off, but
yeah, but then your ship stats are worse.
yeah, totally. It's a fucking game. Well, I'm gonna keep playing it for a while. I'm itching to go back to Baldur's Gate, and I'm also kind of itching to just play Armored Core. I regret buying this because it takes away from my ability to buy Armored Core. But
I would not recommend anybody buy this game unless you.
It's on Game Pass. There's no reason to buy it.
You should absolutely play it on Game Pass.
Perfect Game Pass game.
Yeah.
Perfect game to play for free. And even if you like it, you can just keep playing it on Game Pass. It's never going to go away. It's a first-party title. So
One of these days, we're going to do a special review episode where we like the game or the book.
we're so sinister, bro. I mean, sinister. We're so
Cynical.
Cynical. Couldn't think of the word.
I
We should have done one of these on Baldur's Gate. Maybe we will. Ultimately.
Well, the problem with that was just that me and Leslie were playing through too slowly.
Yeah.
And we had just come off Remnant.
No,
So.
we loved Remnant. We never
Remnant was
finished it. I would have loved to have
fantastic
fucking
game.
finished it.
Me too.
Maybe I'll go back one day. I do want to play Armored Core though. There's a bunch of shit coming out too. Cyberpunk DLCs at the end of this month. I'll tell you what, this game is making me want to play Cyberpunk because I play and I'm like, this kind of reminds me of Cyberpunk in some ways, but worse in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, running around that cyberpunk city, the whole time I was thinking when it all amounted to nothing, I was so angry. I was like, okay, I'm gonna play the new Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's
Hopefully it's-
good. I didn't really like it when I first played it.
I was very mixed on it, but more negative than positive. But at the end of the first, did you beat the first game?
No.
At the end of the first game, can I spoil it for you? No, I shouldn't because you're gonna play it.
Yeah, I want to play it.
Okay. Okay.
Do you want to do a rating? Do you care about ratings?
No.
Oh,
I mean, if you want to, we can.
I thought it'd be kind of cool,
Sure.
but we don't have to.
What do you want
Do
to?
you
What
not
would
want
you
to?
personally rate it?
What system are we using?
1 to 10
1 to 10.
with 0.5s.
Why?
Why?
Why 0.5s?
Why not?
I just think it's cumbersome.
I don't understand what's
Oh, okay.
about this.
Well, if I was rating it on a 10 scale, I'm using the full range of the 10 scale. And I would probably put this game at about a 5.
Damn. Yeah.
To me, that's an average game.
Yeah.
It's extremely mediocre.
Yeah. People use the 10 scale like grades in school. Anything below a 6 is the worst game ever.
I know, but I never understood that and always hated it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think a 5-point scale, like people read that more that way. Like a 3 is a pretty good score on a 5 or on a 5-point scale. But it's too early for me to say. But I'm leaning in the 7, maybe 6. But I don't know. I got to finish it. I mean, the problem is like I'm 25 hours in and I feel this way. So that's already like too much to ask from someone to like not get to the good parts when you're
For sure.
trying to rush to get there. And I'm doing the side content because you have to, but none of it has been interesting so far.
Yeah.
I do feel feel bad for saying all that, but I mean, I also don't think that my opinion's wrong. But people can have a different opinion. That's fine. I'm sure people love this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying that. I would never say that that's the wrong take to have because I know people who love games where it's like, here's 10,000 pretty mundane things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, that's like amazing. I want to just spend 6 months doing 1,000 checklists.
Right.
To me, that's really boring, uninspired, not compelling gameplay.
Yeah.
But for some people, they love that.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, yeah.
Well, cool.
Bit
Thanks,
of a
man.
letdown. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Goodbye.